So how many?
Wait.
We're not ready. Okay. All right. So how many of you in here know someone, family, relative, even close friend, or someone you met along the way that has Alzheimer's disease? All right. Well, I actually have met quite a few people with Alzheimer's disease. I don't have like a close friend or a personal relative, but I have worked in nursing homes, and in nursing homes, Alzheimer's is a very common disease. And what Alzheimer's disease is, actually, I'd like to explain to my main goal today would be to explain to you what Alzheimer's disease is, as well as the treatments of the disease and the signs and symptoms of the disease. So, Alzheimer's disease is a degenerative disease of the nerve cells in the cerebral cortex that leads to the abnormal development or atrophy of the brain. So this would be a normal brain, and this is where cells within the brain can actually transport chemical messages to other parts, so neurotransmitters, if you've ever heard of them. And a brain with Alzheimer's disease actually it's damaged, so there's like a deterioration, and the messages, the neurotransmitters, aren't effective. They do not transmit, causing the symptoms of the disease. Alzheimer's was actually described by Alice Alzheimer in 1906. It's characterized by an abnormal accumulation of plaques and malformed nerve cells. It's actually a change in the brain, brain tissue actually, that affects the way that we process and retrieve information. So, oral footnote, excuse me, I didn't mean to read that. All right, D. Schenck from 2001, just a short, the cause of Alzheimer's is actually unknown. So, it affects parts of the brain that are responsible for our thinking, our remembering, and our decision-making ability. It affects people as young as 40, but most common cases are between the ages 60 and 65 when you can see the signs and symptoms of the disease. Signs and symptoms in general, general confusion is the biggest sign of the disease. Now, this is in the early to mild to moderate stage of the disease. People don't typically like to start anything new. If you're an individual with Alzheimer's disease, you don't want to start new projects, go out to new places, things like that. You lose the ability to think logically, so your judgment, you have a lack of judgment. You can't actually process things either, as well as a normal individual, because of the effects on the brain. A common symptom would be irritability. So if you do know someone that has Alzheimer's and they seem irritated, it's due to the symptom of loss of sensitivity to others' feelings. So if there's someone, say they kind of seem a little like they have a little bit of rage when you're talking to them, and then they change because they've either forgotten who you are. The rage could be from the fact that they have Alzheimer's and they're very angry. But rage normally comes in the final stages of Alzheimer's disease. Depression and anxiety are very, very largely common for Alzheimer's disease. The main treatments for the disease are for those two symptoms, because depression and anxiety can, regular people get depression and anxiety, so they take the normal drugs for that. But you can get issues with sleeping and eating, so sleeplessness, restlessness, and eating. You can get just basically you can't eat as well, or you have no appetite, things like that. Loss of familiarity. You don't know where you're going. Like, are you going somewhere that's normally, somewhere you normally drive or normally walk to, and you forget where you're going? That's your loss of familiarity. Excuse me. In the later stages, you do see paranoia and delusions. So you're paranoid all the time, pretty much, and you're delusional. You don't know the normal things on a daily basis. The final stage is it's like a loss of control stage, so you're not in control of yourself, which leads to the inability to control the bodily functions. So if you have a full bladder, you don't remember that's what it feels like. You don't remember, hey, I gotta pee. So yeah, it needs to control. Not able to release as easy. During all the stages, you will see like denial, of course, forgetfulness, repetitive, very unorganized, and then rage. During the mild and moderate stage, the early mild and moderate stages you'll see here, but this stage you're completely aware that you have Alzheimer's disease. That can cause the rage. So the treatments, there's no known cure for Alzheimer's disease, but during the early stages and mild to moderate stages, like I said, the treatment for depression and anxiety come in. Also the treatment of like the side effects, you can use Aricept or Exelon. So during the later stages, there is a drug called memantine, and memantine just slows down the progression. So it doesn't treat it completely, but it does take away from that. And this is just another photo here of the disease. This is a normal brain, normal healthy brain like ours, and this is a deteriorated advanced Alzheimer's disease. There's no cure for the disease. In conclusion, I hope to have informed you about what Alzheimer's disease is, the signs and symptoms, and as well the treatments as well.